Oh, yeah. Time for another team profile and projection brought to you by DraftKings. This is Talkin' Baseball. My name's Jimmy. His name's Jake. His name's Trevor. His name's BBD. Talking about the Houston Astros today. The Houston Astros, guys, they had a losing season last year in the regular season, if you remember. They finished 29-31. They get the second wild card spot, and they ride it all the way to the ALCS, where they lose in Game 7. But Dusty did have a plan. Now they're back again. The pitching changed. Some things change. Some things stay the same. Jake, what do you got? Quick timeout before we get into this episode. It was recorded before the Odorizzi signing, before Forrest Whitley went down. So there's going to be some things we say on here that don't make sense. If you want an updated conversation after you listen to this one, because we still talk about a lot of other things here and do our over-under, but if you want an updated conversation before you listen or after you listen to this one, go to the Jake Odorizzi reaction episode, because not only do we react to the Odorizzi signing, Jake also does a whole segment on his thoughts about the Astros, even more so after we did this TPP. Sorry that it's a little outdated, but what can you say? We're recording 30 of these and bulking them. Our bad. Enjoy it. Thank you guys, as always, for listening. Here you go.
Yeah, man. They last year they gave Trev's Twins the business, then Jokeland, and they lose George Springer. I mean, their version of Mr. October. Connecticut, built different, hard-hitting New Britain. Chris Davinsky leaves from the bullpen. He had kind of passed his course. That's not a phrase you say. And then a lot of other guys that they saw throw the pill for them last year. Cy Snead went to Japan. Roberto Ozuna's gone. Josh Reddick still unsigned. Wouldn't be surprised if he sneaks in. Wonder if we have to do addendum season at some point. Dustin Garneau, a couple other small pieces. But, I mean, George Springer, who was a part of this Houston team, he is gone. They added Jason Castro. He'll be part of their catching platoon. A couple bullpen arms. Pedro Baez did it for the Dodgers, gets lefties. Ryan Stanek, one of the creators of the opener, really. They'll be in the pen. Steve Cishek and Steven Sousa Jr., a friend of the podcast, add sequence. So they got some bodies in there. I mean, George Springer being gone is the big deal, Trev.
Yeah, regardless of how everyone feels about the Astros, this lineup bangs, and they got depth. They got a little bit of everything. So let's just read it off here. Starting with the catcher position, two solid options. You got Martin Maldonado back there. Then, like you just said, Jake, they added Jason Castro, brought him back to Houston. At first base, we got Yuli Gurriel and his crazy hair. Second base, our guy Altuve. I mean, everyone knows these guys. Shortstop, Correa. Third base, Bregman. Left field, Brantley. Center field, got a guy named Miles Straw out there. Right field, Kyle Tucker. And then DH, bringing our guy, Air Jordan, back after a knee problem last year, I believe it was. So this lineup is stacked. Like I said, they got depth. Jim, tell us about the rotation, please.
Well, guy named Zach Greinke.
Oh yeah,
is spearheading the rotation there. The days of Verlander and Cole aren't here right now. Cole's obviously gone. Verlander is recovering from TJ. Framber Valdez supposed to be the number 2. Busted up his left ring finger, and as of right now is listed for likely out for the season. Did we get an update on that? I was kind of shocked that it was
I don't understand that.
Out for the season. Which means the rest of the rotation is maybe Lance McCullers Jr., Jose Urquidy, Christian Javier, and Luis Garcia. Obviously, you need a bunch of more names, and a lot of people will get starts for them. But yeah, the Framber thing might be bigger than it seems right away. We this is a Framber pod. We liked Framber a lot. Liked what he was all about. Also a Dusty Has a Plan pod. What is the plan, Jake? What do you think makes this team tick? Obviously, this is the best team in the West.
Not by our fans' rankings.
Yeah, who do they have above them?
It's a team you might be coming soon, the Oakland A's, who...
I got to disagree with our fans there.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a Jomboy media effect on this. I think Houston's still the favorite. I'll say this, I think both teams got worse, and the rest of the division caught up. The A's lost Simeon. The A's lost Liam Hendricks. Houston, I mean, Verlander's going to be out this year. Framber just got hurt. George Springer left. So
Catching up, not caught up.
they're catching up.
The gap is smaller, but they're not caught up.
I'd say the other teams got better, and I think these teams got worse. So it's figuring out wherever in your heads that lands. Yeah, man, we're going to have to see what this Framber news lands at as we record this. The most recent thing we've seen is most likely out for the season. And you're going to have to see guys step it up, man. I mean, Trev, your guy Lance McCullers Jr., this is his year before free agency. So what does he have in the tank? Can he twirl that slider and get a bunch of outs? They've got a lot of young pitchers. At the same time, these are young pitchers that have shown us stuff. And it's going to come down to all of that. How does their depth go? When we talk about all these teams, we try to go 7, 8, 9 starting pitching deep, and their 7, 8, 9s for this season, Trev, are going to be really young guys. So that can go one of two ways really quick. There's a lot of guys you're familiar with. That lineup is going to do it, and that's what makes them the favorite in the West IMO. But yeah, I mean, the pitching's got a lot of question marks.
You know, I wish this organization didn't have the huge stain on them because they do develop talent. You guys know I love talking about player development. So I don't know about 7, 8, 9 starters deep. I get what you're saying. You need to have some horses in the pen. But I do think that anybody that they bring up, I mean, we saw it last year with Framber. These guys are ready to go. So George Springer is a huge loss from them. But as I'm looking at this lineup, most of the guys had down years last year. Most of them. And you can make the jokes, do all that stuff. But this is a lineup that's built to destroy teams. And we saw in the playoffs, we saw Carlos Correa just take that lead and put the team on his back. But I don't expect Bregman to struggle again. I don't expect Altuve to struggle again. We'll see what Brantley's got left in the tank. He's one of those guys who I think can play till he's 45 if he wants to. That's how easy his swing is. So I really love this team. They get the addition of Yordan, and I think that's a huge addition this year. If they had him in the playoffs last year, who knows what would have happened? That guy is something special. Can't forget about the type of player he is. So I'm excited to see this team. I like the bullpen, kind of how it's shaken up now. I think that was kind of a iffy problem for them last year as well. But I like the guys they brought in. I like Cishek. I like Stanek. Obviously, we got Presley back there. Pedro Baez is one of those guys that kind of is shaky but gets the job done.
Cishek's isn't he he's a minor league invite, right?
Non-roster invite.
He's a minor league invite, but he's always a minor league invite. He makes the team.
Yeah.
And he ends up throwing meaningful innings. So I like this team a lot. And I agree with you, Jim. I think that they're probably a little bit better than Oakland on paper.
They've been in the ALCS 4 years in a row or something like that. They're still pretty good. I think Altuve came out of it. I think he was their best hitter in the ALCS after he was going through all the yips and all the terribleness. He still hit despite the throwing errors, which you pointed out, Trev, was awesome. It depends. I mean, are we still feeling the same way we felt about Greinke 2 years ago? Genuine question, not pointed or searching for one answer over the other. I didn't look and do a deep dive, but because was he injured last postseason? He only started one game in the CS that went seven games. I'm forgetting, which is bad.
Yeah, no, he took the pill last year for his full slate of starts. And then in the postseason, he started against Oakland. He got knocked around a little bit, and then he had a nice bounce back start against Tampa, 6 innings pitch, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks. Man, for me, I think it's a don't bet against Zach Greinke. He's 37. There's a lot of mileage out there. Everyone loves Greinke at this point. I mean, you're going to get some antics. You're going to get his fastball at 88, and then he's going to throw a power changeup at 89, and it's just what's kind of going on out there. But, I mean, the last, 2019, he was 33 starts with a 2.93. That was the last full season. Last year, 12 starts, a 4.03, which, ERA is not everything, but his FIP was still really good. I think Zach Greinke is still Zach Greinke until he's not.
Yeah, he didn't pitch game 3 because he had an arm injury, but I'm guessing it was just temporary and didn't linger because I haven't heard anything about that. Astros fans, obviously, you know more than us about this, but looking at the lineup, even with Springer gone, it's still pretty full, pretty balanced, pretty fun. Tucker broke out nicely. I think that some Astros fans were getting a little impatient with Kyle Tucker, and then they were, I was going to say rewarded for their patience, but they were impatient.
If you're impatient, you didn't get rewarded.
You didn't get rewarded for it. But he's had 2 seasons now. When he did play, he performed. He hasn't been the starter every day. Well, last year he played 58 games. Before that, he played. He did good. But, 123 OPS plus for Kyle Tucker. So I think that maybe makes it easier that Reddick's gone.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And I think, Jordan Alvarez, Trev touched on a little bit. Go check out those stats. His rookie year, when he won Rookie of the Year, 87 games, 27 home runs. Do some quick mental math on that. That's disgusting. So who is he? If he's that dude, yeah. Even if he's if he's 80% of that dude, that's still an impact ball player. Kyle Tucker, yes, I mean, Astro fans were getting impatient. He was a 5th overall pick. He came up. He was 21 years old. He's still 24. And there's an argument he was their best position guy last year during the regular season. So who can he be? I mean, even if he is the, 840 OPS guy that he's been, that's a really good ball player. That's an upgrade over Josh Reddick.
Yes.
If he's better than that, yeah, I mean, that just changes this and adds more depth to the lineup. I think the thing that really jumps out to me is the center field position, and it's just kind of the eyebrow raise. Springer's been there. He's been the leadoff guy, and he's been so good at it. And now they're rolling into the season with Miles Straw, who wasn't a huge prospect for them, speed guy, and hey, maybe they just want to see some defense. I'm chalking this up full circle that watch for Houston to trade for someone. I brought up the upcoming center field free agent class. Technically JBJ with his team option, now that that's there. Starling Marte from the Marlins. Watch out for that if they fall out of the race. Or even someone like a Kevin Pillar, Michael A. Taylor, it's tough for me to see how good this Houston lineup can be. We're counting Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker as bonus pieces, where for other teams we would be saying, these are decent guys to have at the top of your lineup. These are their bonus pieces. So I wouldn't be surprised if Houston's going to be in it. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a center field move for maybe one of those guys I mentioned or someone else out there. And it's just, how does this pitching staff look come midseason, and how does the pitching staff look come end of the year?
What's scary about this team is they were awful during the regular season last year. I know it was 2020, but you finish under 500. You make it to the playoffs because we have expanded playoffs for 1 year. But because they've been there so often, the light switched on, boom. They go and win the wild card series against the Twins. They go beat up on the A's, and then they take the Rays to Game 7. They were this close to being in the World Series. So they know how to play in the playoffs. They know how to get to the playoffs.
And Dusty has a plan.
And they're in a division that's not that great. This team can just get into the playoffs. This is one of the teams when they say, hey, man, all we want to do is get into the playoffs. I believe them, and I believe that's what they should be doing. Don't worry about anything. Just make it to the playoffs because you understand what it takes. Like you said, Jim, 4 straight years in the ALCS. This team is scary. Nobody wants to play them when it comes to the postseason. And to me, that's you can't say that about a lot of teams.
I ended up on Bregman's page looking at this. Alex Bregman has already played 57 postseason games. He turns 27 to start this season.
It's pretty cool.
These guys are battle-tested, Trev, and I'm not saying this as a dig, but, we've talked about the Minnesota Twins playoff struggles, and some of these other teams coming up on the list, I mean, you're going to lean into these Astros because they've been there. They've done it, and they've done it a lot. So, I don't know, man. Obviously,
and if you got to go into Houston, if you got to go play in Houston, it's a tough place to go get a victory. It just is. Regardless if they got people banging trash cans or not, this team understands that ballpark, and it's a strange ballpark, dude. The center field is huge out there. They got the left field Crawford boxes that jot out in left center. They know how to play that. They know everything about that park. They've mastered playing there. It's very hard to go into Houston and get a win. So I just I think this is a low ranking for them after looking kind of at the depth that they have in the lineup. Yes, the starting pitching maybe isn't there, but I kind of feel like they're just going to figure that out. And another reason I'm kind of high on these guys is this is the team that got Ron Darling to call me out on the last podcast. So,
what do you think?
I'm in.
I like reading Trevor Plouffe stuff. He's got a lot of good takes.
What do you think their floor is? We all obviously think that their ceiling is winning the division. I think that they are the front runner to win the division. How bad do you think it could get if it got bad? They have some pieces they could trade, not a lot, because like Greinke's coming up, but that's a lot of money you'd have to dish. Carlos Correa, if contract extension stuff talks are going south or are getting angry, like they could move him again. I think that's about zero. I think it's about 0% chance. I just wanted to see. Do you think there's any way their ceiling is that they're moving guys they can move? McCullers is another guy they could move. I'm saying no. I just wanted to ask you guys the question.
Yes, of course there's a scenario where that happens. If guys are hurt and they're just completely out of it, this is an organization that prides themselves on being smart. They're new GMs from the Rays. Like if they're out of it and they see, hey, McCullers, you're probably going to make a lot in free agency and maybe we don't want to pay you that, I could see him getting shipped out.
Yeah.
I don't know about Correa. I feel like Correa, to me, that is the guy that they want to keep and build around. And if I was them, I keep Lance as well. But there is a scenario where if things just went horribly wrong, I could see them selling off. But it's a very small chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I mean, even if Oakland is their best, if the Angels, if they can make some moves and a couple things click, like I was higher on them than I think both of you guys. Houston's still gonna be in it. They have so much talent that they're in it that. For what Correa means to that franchise, to trade him away as a rental, what you're going to get back in today's Major League Baseball is nothing. That you might as well just keep him in town and work on extensions while you're there. So,
I agree,
and I think the same thing. I think the same thing with Lance McCullers. So, could this team end up in trouble? Yes. And that goes back to the pitching. We did Zach Greinke. Is there a world where Zach Greinke is old and not the same? Yeah. I mean, that's baseball. I'm not taking that bet. And then I was just going to do a who's their second best starter. You lean Lance McCullers. Urquidy's got some really nice numbers in Major League Baseball, but he's only pitched 70 innings up until this point. So they're going to be leaning on...
Javier was good last year.
Javier was good. Luis Garcia is really talented. He was the kid that jumped in that playoff game.
Too many Luis Garcias in
It's a hot name right now. It's like hot in the streets. He had that sexy hair going. So there's a world where these Astros are just leaning on too much youth and it's not there. But I still even think in that world they're going to be close enough to Oakland, the Angels, or whatever's going on in the West that this team's not selling anything.
I would say 0% chance they're selling anything. And I think that they're going to be, if it's a weak division, maybe like maybe their record isn't as impressive as it's been in past years, but I think they're going to be at top of the division or right there with the A's as we go. There's still a ton of talent on the roster for sure. I think what Astros fans are hoping for here is as we see that Verlander's out. He's probably not coming back unless it's like a rehab deal. And then, like, who is Verlander at that point? Greinke, he's a free agent. Cole's gone. He's been gone. So, like, all these new kids that we're talking about, Framber, Urquidy, Javier, Garcia, let's add, like, Forrest Whitley to that list. Like, you're hoping
Have you guys seen Forrest Whitley?
Yeah, but you're hoping, the Astros fans are hoping some of these guys kind of get them to where they were with Framber this year. I think spring training Framber this year, like Framber's our number 2. We love that Framber's our number 2. We're happy Framber's number 2. Those guys bump up. So next year they're not like, oh shit, do we have no one? You want all these guys to like jump into the trust tree. Not if only one jumps up, then like you're going into next year needing to sign some pitchers. McCullers also gone. Free agent.
I as soon as this Framber news came out, obviously it's a big blow to them, but articles start coming in about Forrest Whitley. He's a 6'7", right-handed pitcher. He's got, in this picture I'm seeing beautiful flow, beautiful human being, potential candidate for my hot boy list. I like tall pitchers. So look, this is an organization like I said, that seemingly has developed a ton of talent. We always have to mention that some of those guys were benefiting from getting signs. Like that's just part of it, man. And Astros fans just got to deal with that. I believe in all these players. I don't think they needed to do that, but they did it. All the young guys coming up were not part of that. I'm a big fan of, the way the organization is able to develop players. So when you see what these guys have done when they've come up, you got to imagine the guy like Forrest, if he can stay healthy, he has an injury-prone tag. This guy could just come up and be a guy for them.
From
more
Texas.
and more I look at the roster
he's from San Antonio.
And the depth, I love it.
San Antonio kid, not far from Houston. Corpus Christi, Jake.
Yeah, the prospect shine is wearing off a little on him. Like it's time, so let's see it. And
he's 23 years old.
Trev, he like some people had him as a top 5 prospect in baseball. Now some places have him as 80th. So it's when you mention injuries and you mention all of that, that's how that works. So hey, come up and shove, and you're right back in the mix. And still, secret of baseball, nobody knows anything about prospects. Randy Arozarena was like the Rays' 26th prospect, and now he's like top 20.
I agree with you, but when you get
check
into
out
an organization
check out the split. Check out the split I found on Forrest Whitley. I'd never seen this on Baseball Reference, and it's awesome. In his minor league career, Forrest Whitley versus younger batters has a 5.88 OPS. Versus older batters has a 9.08 OPS.
Wow.
It doesn't say what the cutoff is or the age limit or if it's service time, but just to let you know he's much better versus younger batters.
Older hitters are smarter than him.
If this team gets a bunch of young, controllable pitchers going for them, look out. It's going to be another 5-6 years of Houston dominance in the AL West. Well, not dominance because the A's have been there, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they got to retain some more infield guys.
That's the secret, though. That's the secret to winning in this game is having young, controllable pitchers.
Yeah.
No. Does Max have a fun stat?
Max's fun stat for the Houston Astros.
All 4 of Houston starters who made 10-plus starts last season, Greinke, McCullers, Valdez, Javier, were among the 17 pitchers in MLB with the lowest average home run distance. All between 381 and 391 feet. The only other team to have multiple pitchers in the bottom 17 was the Phillies, Nola and Arrieta. So they might give up home runs, but they ain't giving up bombs.
They don't go far.
Yeah.
So it's a strange stat, Max. I like it.
Wind-blown pop-ups.
That
go out.
Those damn Crawford boxes ruining it.
They could have. Those things could have stopped a lot of those laser homers. You know what I'm saying?
Trev, you with those Crawford boxes?
Woo,
Thick boy 2014, Trev.
I've been all over that stadium.
And I forget, have you gone over the monster at Fenway? I'm just blanking right now.
Maybe.
Second deck?
Maybe.
Second deck of Yankee Stadium?
You guys were... we'll talk about this later. Let's stay with the Astros here.
Over-under. DraftKings has the over-under at 86.5.
If everything goes well here, that's an easy over for me. But
yeah,
we're talking about...
It's just so tough to
everyone stay healthy.
It's so tough to picture this Astros team and we're like 84 wins. Like that doesn't click in my head, you know?
Yeah. In 2016 they won 84 wins. They won 84 wins.
They won 84 wins.
Yeah. They gamed 84 wins.
No, man, how about this? I think this team...
How about this?
No, it's so huge for them, and this is going to sound really dumb, but doing well in the playoffs. Because last year was supposed to be it was coming off the cheating scandal, and these guys are going to get booed. Oh, now they're not getting booed, and they finished the season 29-31. Like, if the Twins beat them in the playoffs, I think we would be saying a lot different stuff about Houston.
Like, yeah, but the fact that once they got to the postseason, they just
turned it on.
Yeah.
And I think they'll have that in the tank. Like, even if they hover around 500 for a little bit and say Framber's not out for the season and he comes back, or Forrest Whitley comes up and he does have a little magic in the tank. Like, Houston, everyone is going to be waiting for Houston to click, even if it doesn't start early. And then when it does, it's kind of like dig in because let's see what they've got. And Dusty has a plan. So I'll take the over, man.
Take the over as well.
Against these guys?
I'm already on the over. You know I'm on the over.
Ooh,
apparently all I do is pick over.
The triple sweep.
That meme was pretty good, Trev.
It was good. Sorry I'm so...
How many unders has Trev picked? I don't know. I didn't think it was all overs. BBD is bringing it up.
BBD Analytics.
This will take a second.
This is going to take a second.
You've done 18 teams already?
I found one, but they're split between. I do my sheets by month, so I have to find the other
Okay,
sheet.
BBD does his sheets by
At
month.
least one.
At least one under.
It's got to be the Texas Rangers.
It was the Rockies, I think.
Trevor's taken the under on the Angels, the Mariners, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies.
Oh, it's a lot of unders.
And the Orioles.
So 5 unders?
Never listen
5
to the
unders,
comments.
13 overs. I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad, Trev. All right. Thank you guys very much, BBD. Do you want me to wait it out? Do you think you'll find it? Or have we moved on collectively?
Let's move on.
All right,
Okay.
cool. Thank you guys very much. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. It's Talkin' Baseball. Team profiles and projections. Episode a day, every day until opening day. On an opening day, we'll be watching games with you.